Hi everyone, welcome to my game of the month for December 2023. This is Fujimoto vs Ida from the OE prelims. Playing Sente is Fujimoto Nagisa, ranked 4 Dan, and playing Gote is井田 Akihiro, ranked 4 Dan. Both Fujimoto and Ida are known to be particularly strong in using the Gangi opening strategy. When both players adopt the Gangi strategy, the opening Joseki is considered difficult for Sente to initiate a fight in the middle game. This can lead to senishite, or draw by repetition, in the opening phase, and this is exactly what happened in the first game between Ida and Fujimoto. As a result, the two players had to play a rematch with reverse sides, which is the game we'll be looking at today. Ida had Sente in the first game, so in this game, Fujimoto has Sente, and the rematch begins with pawn to 2-6, pawn to 8-4, pawn to 7-6, pawn to 3-4, pawn to 6-6, silver to 6-2, silver to 6-8, gold to 3-2, gold to 7-8, pawn to 8-5, bishop to 7-7, silver to 4-2, silver to 4-8, pawn to 5-4, silver to 6-7. Fujimoto once again chooses Gangi as his opening strategy, whereas Ida maintains a flexible formation which he can later develop into Gangi or Yagura. After pawn to 7-4, pawn to 3-6, Ida proceeds with bishop to 5-5, knight to 3-7, bishop to 7-3. The bishop is an important piece in the opening. Thanks to its long range, it can apply early pressure to the opponent's camp, but at the same time, it can also become a target of the opponent's attack. By switching his bishop to the other long diagonal, Ida removes his bishop from the castle he's about to construct, where he expects Fujimoto to attack. In doing so, he abandons his pressure against Fujimoto's castle, but creates pressure on the other side of the board and restrains Fujimoto's attack. For example, it would be natural to develop the silver with pawn to 4-6 and silver to 4-7, but it's impossible right now due to the position of Ida's bishop. Fujimoto responds with pawn to 5-6, preparing to use his bishop to support pawn to 4-6, and Ida plays silver to 3-3, making a Yagura castle. The opening phase proceeds with bishop to 6-8, gold to 5-2, pawn to 4-6, pawn to 4-4, silver to 4-7, king to 4-1, king to 6-9, king to 3-1, pawn to 1-6, pawn to 1-4, rook to 2-9, silver to 5-3. In this position, both players are nearing a crossroads. For Fujimoto, it's a question of whether he will develop his gold to 5-8, making a Gangi castle, or if he will advance it to 4-8, protecting knight on 3-7 and creating the possibility of playing pawn to 4-5. Fujimoto chooses gold to 5-8, and now Ida has an analogous choice. With gold to 4-3, he can make a castle called So Yagura, a defensive shape which is thick at the head of the castle. But in the game he plays silver to 4-2, and after king to 7-9, pawn to 9-4, pawn to 9-6, silver to 4-3, his castle becomes a silver Yagura castle instead. Fujimoto castles with king to 8-8, and after king to 2-2, bishop to 7-7, Ida moves his king back to 3-1 in order to sidestep the bishop's line of attack. With both players approaching the point where it's not easy to continue improving their formations, the ball is in Fujimoto's court to attack Ida's position. He proceeds with pawn to 6-5, a daring pawn push that opens the bishop while creating an overextended target for Ida to punish. If Ida ignores the bait and plays a solid move like gold to 4-2, then Fujimoto could solidify his vanguard position with silver to 6-6, and he can continue building his formation with moves like gold to 6-7, creating thickness at the head of his castle. This exchange feels like it would be a gain for Fujimoto. So in the game, Ida responds with pawn to 6-4, and a pawn exchange occurs with pawn takes, bishop takes. The result of this pawn exchange on the 6th file is that Fujimoto's castle is no longer defended by a pawn on the 6th file, and Ida can use the 6th file to attack Fujimoto later in the game. Fujimoto's bishop is activated, but I think that Ida's bishop position also improves, adding pressure to the head of Fujimoto's castle and making a space for his knight to develop. Overall, I feel that this pawn exchange would be favorable to Ida in most situations, which is why Fujimoto's pawn to 6-5 can be considered a provocative move, aiming for this exact exchange. His reason for doing that is to gain a pawn in hand to strengthen his attack, which he finally begins with knight to 2-5, aiming for Ida's silver. In the game, Ida ignored this threat, but let's see why he did that. If the silver escapes to 2-2, Fujimoto would proceed with pawn to 4-5, making a severe attack against the head of Ida's silver. Ida would be forced to defend with gold to 5-3. I think that a strong player would intuitively evaluate this position to be favorable for Sente, but I wasn't so sure because I couldn't see the follow-up for Sente's attack. My conclusion is that if Gote has a chance to capture the pawn on 4-5, then Sente's attack seems to fail. Therefore, Sente should capture on 4-4, and after silver takes, it might be possible to make an edge attack with pawn to 1-5. For example, pawn takes, pawn to 3-5, pawn takes, pawn drop 1-3, lance takes, pawn drop 3-3, knight takes 1-3 promotes, silver takes, lance takes 1-5, pawn drop 1-4, pawn drop 3-4, and it seems that Sente's attack will connect. Because this is just one of many possible variations, I don't feel confident enough in any final evaluation. Nevertheless, my feeling is that it would be dangerous for Gote to allow Sente to attack with pawn to 4-5. Back to the game now. At this timing, Ida develops his knight to 7-3, and Fujimoto, instead of capturing the silver immediately, first swings his rook to 6-9. If the silver escapes, I think that Fujimoto would be able to make a powerful attack with pawn to 5-5. In fact, after the game, the players discussed the possibility of pawn to 2-4. This move is like the opposite of running away. Instead, it forces Fujimoto to capture the silver. After knight takes 3-3 promotes, knight takes, Fujimoto has a material advantage, but Ida can look forward to making a counterattack with knight drop 8-4. In the game, Ida tries to stabilize the head of his bishop with pawn drop 6-5, but Fujimoto attaches the pawn with pawn drop 6-6. And if Ida proceeds with pawn takes, silver takes, pawn drop 6-5, then after silver takes, knight takes, rook takes, silver drop 6-3, Fujimoto's attack continues with pawn to 1-5. For example, pawn takes, pawn drop 1-3, silver 2-4, pawn to 4-5, and Fujimoto's attack looks very promising. I think that this possibility might have been one of the reasons why it was a little better to play pawn to 2-4 and force Fujimoto to win the silver with his knight. In the game, Ida plays bishop to 5-3, and despite its submissive appearance, this move is actually a setup for a surprisingly dangerous counterattack. After knight takes 3-3 promotes, knight takes, pawn takes 6-5, Ida steps in with knight takes. And there's no going back now. If Fujimoto can defend his attack and safely capture the knight with pawn drop 6-6, then he would have gained a silver material, which would be game over. This is the critical phase of the game. Fujimoto escapes to 5-9, but Ida responds with pawn to 9-5, and this edge attack isn't easily ignored. For example, if Fujimoto captures the knight with pawn drop 6-6, pawn takes 9-6, pawn takes 6-5, then Ida could proceed with pawn to 9-7 promotes, knight takes, pawn drop 9-6, pawn drop 9-8, pawn takes 9-7 promotes, pawn takes, knight drop 8-6. The knight attacks the gold and also makes a threat of pawn drop 9-8, so it has to be captured, but after pawn takes, Ida would gain a big foothold at the head of Fujimoto's king, and this would be very dangerous for Fujimoto. So in the game, Fujimoto responds with pawn takes, and Ida commits to his attack with pawn to 4-5. It wouldn't be good to capture this pawn because Ida's knight would jump to 4-5 and aim to a promotion on 5-7. Instead, Fujimoto goes for Ida's other knight with pawn drop 6-6, but after pawn takes 4-6, silver takes, pawn drop 4-5, silver 3-7, Ida plays bishop to 4-4, pinning the pawn and temporarily saving his knight. Nevertheless, Fujimoto finds the excellent strategy of pawn to 5-5, blocking Ida's bishop. If Ida plays bishop takes, then Fujimoto would succeed in luring the bishop close enough to gain a tempo with silver to 5-6 and win the knight on 6-5. So in the game, Ida counters with pawn drop 9-7. If Fujimoto captures the knight, then Ida could counter with lance takes 9-5. And after bishop takes 5-5, he can win Fujimoto's silver with a fork, which would be an ideal outcome of gaining both material and attacking speed. In the game, Fujimoto defends by capturing the pawn with his lance, and Ida would have only needed one pawn in hand to proceed with a pawn drop on 9-6, followed by a knight drop to 8-4 to capture Fujimoto's lance. But Ida is out of pawns, and Fujimoto's defense appears to be succeeding. Ida proceeds with pawn takes 5-5, pawn takes 6-5, knight drop 8-4, aiming for pawn drop 9-6 again, but Fujimoto counters with silver drop 7-3. At this point, Ida could still escape to 8-1, and even though Fujimoto can remove the knight on 8-4, Ida's attack won't be completely cut off. For example, rook takes, bishop to 7-7, pawn to 7-5, pawn takes, pawn to 5-6. And even though Fujimoto has gained a knight in material, Ida has the initiative, and the game would go on. In the game, Ida goes all or nothing and abandons his rook, attacking with pawn drop 9-6, silver takes a2 unpromotes, pawn to 5-6. If Fujimoto blocks with his bishop, Ida could make a very dangerous attack after bishop takes promotes, knight takes, pawn takes 9-7 promotes, king takes, land takes 9-5, king to 8-8, pawn drop 6-6. And Ida would have too much counterplay in this position. So instead, Fujimoto plays knight drop 6-6. The drawback of this move is that after pawn takes 9-7 promotes, king takes, Ida can drop his lands to 5-7, not only putting pressure on Fujimoto's major pieces, but also creating the threat of land takes 9-5. So Fujimoto calmly plays silver takes 9-1 unpromotes. But Ida's scary attack continues with bishop takes 6-6. And capturing the bishop is impossible because Ida would capture the gold and fork Fujimoto's major pieces in one fell swoop. So Fujimoto instead defends with bishop to 4-8. And after land takes 5-8 promotes, bishop takes 6-6, gold drop 9-6, king to 9-8, promoted lands takes 6-9, and it's finally Fujimoto who holds the initiative. Although there's pressure on his king from all sides, Fujimoto is safe because Ida doesn't have enough material to close in on the king. After rook drop 8-1, king to 2-2, Fujimoto makes one more accurate defense, dropping his lands to 9-7. The meaning of this move is to capture the gold to 9-6 and immediately drop it to 2-1, breaking apart Ida's castle. Ida's attack is no longer powerful enough, and should he defend with gold takes, knight takes, lands drop 3-1, then Fujimoto would close in with a move like bishop drop 6-4, and his attack would be unstoppable. And so when Ida saw this lands drop, he resigned in this position. In this game, Fujimoto prevailed by skillfully combining attack and defense. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.